Yeah, that's already nice.
Hello.
I can't do this, man. Like, I'm happy I got my passport. I'm happy I found a place where I want to live at.
I definitely agree with kid greatness here. The video's titled "I Got Rejected for 10 Hours." You can't win in America. And since this video went viral because he did get I think a shout out by Legion of Men, and oh, Halo Haley just uploaded about TikTok's fridge drawer food. Yuck. Disgusting. Also, I miss my plastic black fork. I don't know where the heck it is because my older brother probably threw it away. And with my autistic habit, I like to eat off of plastic because it tastes better on my teeth, and I just want to keep my teeth healthy and strong. And I decided to eat a burrito with barbecue sauce, and I add a little bit of crackers. I know the quality is really bad. I deeply pardon for that. But after seeing a little bit of his, after seeing his first video, and if anyone is new here, my name is Dion and welcome, and I am clinically depressed, and I'm not bathing. Yeah, as disgusting as it is for 12 days, well, tough nights. However, though, I never left out the house because of how we got evicted because, well, our house was kind of stolen from us, and I'm still feeling really hurt of what that Floridan reptile family did. I was curious to look up of America is the worst place for a social life. Now, this may be a little different from the other videos that I did, and also I just finished up having a wonderful conversation with Jesus, which is one of my viewers from the Dominican Republic that was on my live stream, to keep me company, and we're talking about like animes, etc. So he basically, it's like 5:30 over there where he is because it's 2:31 in the morning right now, and it's it's supposed to be the 5th of December on a Thursday. So I do apologize for the bad quality here. One thing I wanted to share, I'm envious of Mexicans. Now, the reason why I'm going to just say this is because as someone that lives in Phoenix, right, and I see some comments of how, well, let's just say people are rude here. A lot of us are not, a lot of us Phoenicians are not from here. What I mean by that, a ton of people move to our city from other states. I think and that's why I seen like, no offense to my Washington viewers, I love Washington. I went to Orcas, right, with my mother when I was a little boy because my best friend Joshua used to live up in East Sound. Um, they're known for basically having the sea out of free, so maybe that's why they kind of brought the depression down. Maybe some people in Oregon and maybe other states like Florida, New Jersey, Illinois, because of how awful their state has been growing, and I definitely don't blame them. So maybe that's why people are thinking, oh, that's how Phoenix acts. Well, a ton of us are not from here. However, I'm a native here. I'm born here in this fiery nest. And the reason why I want to bring this up, also, I looked at that. I think we got like 70,000 people from Washington State. It's a lot. I looked up the statistics. A lot of people are from Washington that live here. I'm shocked. Also, for anyone in Washington, you have a gorgeous flag because it's our first president, and it's green, which I think is pretty cool. Honestly, I am envious of Mexicans because of how extroverted. Yes, there are introverted Mexicans, but what I mean by that is based off the culture. They are really family oriented, which I really like a ton. They basically love parties. They do stay up late. They're really hardworking. On top of like the country is like whole here. Not to mention for the Mexican man. Well, that's another story, right? Um, think about the South Park episode of Butters that he was see like a Mexican, right? Mexican work, I forgot how it goes, right? Um, they have Dia de los Muertos, which basically is Day of the Dead. I even was dressed up in that day, right? Even though I use like a Sharpie just to be Jack Skellington and wearing my Jack Skellington t-shirt and pants because, well, I'm too poor to afford a decent outfit, and I wanted to just to show respect and pride for the Latino culture of Mexico. That actually makes sense. Um, they have delicious food, right? Like tacos, churros, you know, tortillas. I can only think about the basic Mexican foods. I haven't eaten Mexican foods in a long time, unless you get burritos, right? El Monterey, like the one I'm eating. Um, they basically, how I'm gonna explain this. Um, They just really care about their country. Like us Americans, there's no country that's perfect. Every country has their issues. Even I don't like our country so much because of what Kid Greatness has explained. Well, I want to add one thing. We have terrible mental health care here. If you see a lot of homeless people on the street, excuse me, they don't get treated well, right? We have a terrible, like I guess you could say, well, not really infrastructure, depending on the state that you live in. Let's talk about that. It's probably considered a burrito, I think. Ugh, because I'm having like a stem, an autistic thing, really. Having, what is it, like being like a card dependent country? We're so much different than like Mexico, or at least maybe that's Mexico City that I was reading from another channel. But the thing is, I've noticed that in our country though, we don't really have much of a social life outside of social media. And that's not the only thing. Basically, one of my the viewer I talked to, that's from the Dominican Republic, Jesus, who was basically black to have Chinese descent. He's like Latino. It actually makes sense, right? They would have like markets on like basically the side of the streets, people that are socializing, being really outgoing, and they just buy like, I don't know how to explain it. Like here in the U.S., the only way you can actually buy clothes is if you go to Walmart, which I like to go because I know I got falsely accused of shoplifting a couple of times, and I don't like how the way that the workers treated me as though I'm some criminal. Even though there was like an incident in the past, just because I put like a spaghetti TV there in my backpack, which I paid for because, well, I didn't have a card or I figured other people needed, and I was hungry, right? I paid for it, of course, right? I know should have done that, but you know what? We all as human beings make mistakes, right? And basically, either that or going to Target, right? And I think that's it. Or going to like an empty dead mall. And like the dead mall that I used to go to was Christown. And it used to be better, but after JCPenney basically closed down, because I like to walk in there sometimes to look at the cute clothes, because I like looking at, clothes, right? That's gone, because I guess they're out of business in that region, and it's kind of dead. Not to mention, like, I don't think you can even film inside that place, because the security guards could get a little salty, maybe. Okay, well, that leaves with me, but at least I've heard. I don't know. Okay? It just seems like there's no place to go here in the U.S. because of how we cannot have a connection. Like how people in the 80s and 90s were always going to shopping malls or going to skate parks, like going to like regular parks as a hangout, but it seems that because of how parents are so supervised with their children, or the police will basically call children that will play in the park. This is why people are trapped inside. We might as well be like hikikomori. Basically in Japan, it's when, in the Japanese society, it's when you basically don't leave out your house. I'm practically like that. I've not left out my house since the 16th of August because of how much I miss my neighborhood. I still want to get my apartment back really badly. And I know you may be asking, Dion, what does this have to do with Mexico? Even though you live in Phoenix. Well, basically, I was looking at some videos of, like, how the Mexican, like, how the country of Mexico it is. It makes me really, like, kind of jealous of Mexicans in general because of how they're just so, like, extroverted. They're really, like, to socialize. They would have a ton of friends. They can face the loneliness as, like, any other human being, even though I sometimes didn't feel that way because, man, like, you Mexicans have it so good. Having so many delicious restaurants to go to, having so many parks that you could just sit around with like your girlfriend or your boyfriend, talk about your day, and having such like green, like this spots to visit, like this, like parks, right? With so many plant life. And I love that. Here in the U.S. though, it's nothing but sidewalk, right? And then like 4 or 5 lanes. Okay, at least out here in Phoenix, well, we are well, in my state, Arizona, we're really young, so we're still being developed. We're way much different than the Northeast, even though I'm sure they're still having a car dependency problem like the rest of us. But you have nowhere to go to. Like for me personally, if I want to be out in nature, the only way I could basically kind of like experience it if I was sit in an electric box, like power box. Don't worry, I will not damage the box or anything. When I go for my walks, if anyone is curious, like you may see my videos, especially the bystander effect. I think I posted on my TikTok of me and a few other men that were helping a black woman or a black mother and her son um, pushing their white Nissan to the curb because I think their car must have run out of gas. Now, that's what I love about being an American because we look out for one another. However, though, what's really depressing is that we're always like in a rush. We don't really have time just to communicate and socialize or hang out with someone. And from what Kid Greatness has explained, it's like that. Honestly, like for me personally, in my neighborhood, what I love about my neighborhood, even though we're really busy, we don't really stop to talk. Even though I have a couple of incidents that I did with random people, which is lovely. It just sucks that we don't have any parks just to like, sit down and talk because everything is just like they say car centric. There's nothing but sidewalks over the place, but like really slim. There's like no benches, right? You have no place just to like sit and relax. Also, you will be lucky if you go to like a Circle K or maybe a Fry's, just use the bathroom. You're kind of out of luck. Okay, I thought I could just be a little bit random on that. If you like to go, well, for me personally, that's not an issue because I love being out in nature and I love how wide open our space is. But sometimes it makes you feel a little bit too empty. I'm so sorry. I'm getting a little bit off topic here. Basically, what I'm trying to say is that we're just so isolating of ourselves because of how we don't really have like an eye-to-eye connection with other people. And as someone that has like avoidant personality disorder, like it's like social anxiety but like worse, right? It's like cold black. I'm afraid to socialize with other people because I feel like they won't like me, they want to hang out with me, but I'm craving just to diglet out of my pit, right? Just to just have a connection with another human being. And it's depressing how us Americans are kind of in that route. Like, basically for me personally, what I really like about the Latino culture, right? Or of the Mexican nationality here. Around my neighborhood, there's like life in a way. Even though it's like car-centric and there's not really much places you can go to on foot, even though for me that's not a problem because I like to be out in nature, even though they're just cars in every intersection. I would hear like loud Mexican music late at night, right? And then we have like a few cool like Mexican restaurants that don't really close, which I like because imagine if you want to go out to eat, hang out with a friend or something, you probably want to go out somewhere, right? Not just having to go out a bar and drink and kill your liver, something like that. But the thing is, though, we don't have that, honestly, and maybe that's what I like about the Mexican culture the way. I can't explain too much. Like for me personally, when it comes to like really family oriented, they got quinceañeras, right? Which I like, and not to mention piñatas when they have birthdays. This like family gathering. I think that's why like let's say Mexicans love Dragon Ball Z so much because well, Goku is practically the deity of the Mexican. If Mexico has their own religion, it's like Gokuism. Because of how he would bring people together, and that's how Mexicans are, because they care about being with their families and eating out together, even though they're really busy. Because I think I looked up that eons ago that Mexico is like one of the most hardworking countries on earth because they work the most hours, but yet again they still find a way to spend time with their family. And I think another thing I want to share is how kind they are. Even though I encountered a few harsh Mexican men in the past. I have. I guess they didn't like me for my skin color, especially that one at Walmart that was falsely accused of shoplifting. He shouldn't call himself as a Mexican, no. And not to mention those two white men, they should feel ashamed of themselves. Just because I had to hold my Ingeber's backpack. Like, I can't afford decent clothes and whatnot. I'm sorry. The only way I can go is like Walmart because, well, there's no like random market I could find that's nearby. Everything is so far away. You know, like it's not like in the Caribbean or some European countries that, you know, they got these unique squares and water and fountains. I'm thinking about Italy, right? You could have somewhere, you could have like a place to hang out and just socialize with people. We don't have that, right? We're basically in our own bubble, kinda. Even though I do see people in my neighborhood that will go out and exercise, which is awesome, by the way. The whole country needs to be like that. But we have a long way to go. We do. Like, we need to have, like, more parks and, you know, like, maybe, like, more markets if people want to, like, sell their merchandise or something like that. You know, I would love to see that. Not just having to go to, like, a lame Walmart all the time. Right? You know, like, something unique like that. One thing I like about in the Mexican culture as well. Right? Which is a little different. I'm not sure how it's like this in other states. But we have Mexican street vendors. They get by, you know, with the like the little money they get paid, and they sell snacks, right? And I don't think they sell drinks. I never basically been to one, but I seen them around my neighborhood. I think it's amazing. It's kind of like if I would go to the Dominican Republic, yeah, the Dominican Republic, and I would see like a market, but there's like a snack section. Like imagine you're out of the park, you're hungry, you want to, you know, with your friend. You want to maybe suck up some hot Cheetos. Or maybe Takis. Right? And you go to a Mexican street vendor, you're paid for whatever, how much it costs, and then you enjoy your day. Right? We should have more of that throughout the country. I like seeing them around the neighborhood. Even though a problem about being an American, right? Like when it comes to like just being out and about in society. Like if you're just going for like your exercises and whatnot. I need to rewind more of these videos here. It can be a little bit dangerous just to get by. Like if you just want to be out in nature, right? I would notice that, like, I don't know, I don't think this should be legal. I think I had some other videos of it, but I remember I see, like, these, like, golf carts that would, like, drive by. I mean, I know the Mexico street vendors do this too, but there has to be a safer way. Because you might as well not walk at all and get run over by a car. Okay? That they would literally, like, would drive through the sidewalk. I don't know how that's legal. This is definitely a problem here in the United States. And it worries me because people probably feel like, yeah, they don't feel safe, you know, getting exercise and going for their walks like I do. We just take the bus. You know, that's all we do. You know, go to work, and then once you're done, you just get back home, and that's it. You know, there's not really much socializing. And, of course, I don't want to go to a bar just to basically form friendships and drink. I don't drink. I never have. Or at least, well, you know, I was kind of pressured to once, but I don't drink. I don't. This is a huge issue. And seeing of Kid Greatness to share his thoughts of it, it's incredible. And it worries me. It worries me a lot that this is how us human beings act. Right? Or at least us Americans. It's really, really concerning. Right? I love his thumbnails, by the way. Because he basically, it's really easy to read and no, social life in America's hopeless. I love that. You know, I might just put, I'm jealous of, oops.
I think it's time for you.
Because he's from Kenya, by the way. I'm really jealous of Mexicans in a way because of how, not in this here, like in Phoenix, because of how they really are more outgoing. And I guessing you could say I didn't have too many, like, welcoming experiences, you know, of, like, you know, like, hanging out with a Mexican family and forming like a platonic bond with them. I've always wanted that. But how like in Mexico though, it just seems like, you know, having delicious foods and I'm so sorry if I'm repeating myself. I'm not really good at this. I'm not. Okay? Because of my autism. I mean that's why. Because I repeat myself a ton. You know, just being like family oriented. But us Americans, though, we are just busy. We don't spend time, like, with our children. And, you know, just try to get by and not worry that we may, like, lose our house and being evicted the next day. My mother, she worked a lot throughout my childhood when she was a nanny to babysit my old best friend, Joshua. I didn't spend that much time with her growing up. right? Like she would leave like I think like a few days a month. Now that might not seem a lot, but for a child back then, well, of course you want to be with your mother, like 24/7, right? But my brothers they did took care of me. You know, I did travel with my mother, but when she had to work alone, I would always cry that she would be traveling by plane because I always feel that she never will come back. I want to read one comment here. Professional here. I deliver pizzas and bartend on the side for a social life. Kind of embarrassing. I'm running into my job. Lets me work remote anywhere than moving to Latin America. Okay, that's a random comment. I want to read two more. If that's okay. Young man, you're leaps and bounds ahead of and most of your fellow Americans. In the way you're able to think and see, I'm also an American, but have been living abroad since 2016. First Mexico, then Thailand, and now Cambodia. I went back to the U.S. this past June for a month to visit my mom, and after only 2 days, despite Chico Brutal Qatar, I love that name by the way, I couldn't wait to get back home to Southeast Asia. It wasn't my mom, but just the whole atmosphere in general. The energy itself is toxic to me. Mom asked me why I won't move back home, and I was just straight up with her. I told her I can't live as I can't pronounce that word. Comfortably in the U.S. I'm 51 and live on my military retirement, which is more than enough. I rent a great 4-bedroom, 4-bathroom house for $250 a month. My total living expenses are less than $1,000 per month. My rent alone in the States was more than that. Because the thing is, before my brother and I, well, because our mother basically paid for that place, right? It was $900 when we first moved in. And then, before we got evicted, it was an average $1,400 a month. Even though we got appliances that were fixed for free, of course. The remainder of my income, which is more than 5 times my current living expenses, to stack it, or I invested in my music making hobby. I've turned one of my spare bedrooms into my own recording studio. I would never be able to live like this in the U.S. I've never been happier. Keep doing what you do, and hopefully you can encourage the others to see the light. And I love that comment. I love that comment a lot. I want to read one more, if that's okay. I hope that this video is really engaging. I just want to be heard, I suppose. Let's see. U.S. has 260 million adults, and 30%, which is 78 million, have been diagnosed clinically with depression. Being lonely is similar to smoking 15 cigarettes a day. That's awful. And this is pretty accurate, because the thing is, around my neighborhood, right, even though people are kind here and, you know, they give you like the nod, right, we do that here. But the thing is, though, we don't like stop to talk and socialize. And it gets depressing because we basically are just, we probably had to arrive home for the next day just to pay for our electric bill, or, you know, maybe to take care of like one of our children. You never know what's going on. Or your spouse, maybe, right, your significant other. We just don't have time for that. And we need to make time. And it's depressing. And this comes for someone that has 0 friends. 0. It worries me a little bit. Honestly. And I thought I could actually just share this because as someone that misses this apartment, right? Even though I don't really interact much about my neighbors in my neighborhood, I do like being out in nature. I do love my neighborhood because people around my neighborhood most of the time are really friendly. And even though we don't talk, you know, they're away or say hello, it's just that little feeling of kindness. It pulls a Stanley difference. And us Americans need to do more of that. Because there's so many of us, like me, that are lonely, that wants someone to talk to, that doesn't want to be trapped inside their house all night. Honestly. And also, yeah, I'm really desperate to earn my apartment back. Even though our apartment 260, even though someone may be living there, yeah, I feel like I cut that much more. But I just thought I could actually just get this out of my chest. And I deeply apologize for the awful quality. This is all I can do with my MacBook since it is a 2009 or Capitan mid 2009 model. Because my phone can't charge at the moment. I need to buy a new charging port. This is all I can do right now. But other than that, I just thought I could actually just share how I feel. And I hope that y'all enjoyed hearing my speech of how I feel as an American, and for my Mexicans out there, I hope this may be helpful. And I hope that maybe I give your country like a bird of light, because I know your country has problems, which I don't want to name, even though there's not many I can name anyway. I would always want to go to Mexico. Plus, I don't live far from the border.